Hey everybody, Adam Tracy again. And there's this misconception about crowdfunding portals, what they are and what they can effectively do, and a third level, what they can do in the crypto realm. So from a general perspective, irrespective of like what the model is, let's say that a crowdfunding portal, in the absence of being a broker dealer, has to register with the SEC as a portal, right? And there's a separate form, you go through it, it's kind of basic information with some indicia of business plan, obviously disclosures related to the parties involved and the like. Alongside that, you have to register with FINRA to become a member of FINRA, right? And the portal, right, becomes live at the later of either the acceptance of the 30 days or the acceptance of the FINRA membership. So typically it's the FINRA membership. So you can 30, 45 days is typically when you get in. The SEC form is axiomatic and it'll be approved within 30 days. So there you are, right? You're live, but here's your limitations. You can't solicit, you can't hold customer funds, you can't hold securities, right? And you can't take a fee in the sense of a commission, meaning like if I sell 100 shares of X, I get X percent. So what do you need? One, you need to work with an escrow agent or custodian. Typically the companies that are doing it, since they're typically private, you don't need a securities escrow or placement agent or anything like that. They can sort of issue the securities, but you can't hold customer funds. You can process the transaction, but you can't hold the funds. The funds have to go away. Two, you can't market. You can't solicit sales. So in the sense that, you're listing XYZ company, you can't go out there and try to drive people to your site for purposes of that investment. And even within the context of the site that you have, you can't algorithmically try to promote one or the other. It has to be completely random, right? And they're very, very, very strict on this. So yes, you can put like the marketing materials and all that kind of stuff that's provided by the company or even if the portal creates it, but you can't inherently solicit those sales. Like that has to come from the issuer as opposed to the portal. And payment wise, since you can't take a commission, you have to kind of look at it and package it and say, all right, well, it's X. You can provide and like prepare the marketing materials and all that, right? And that can be part of that fee, but that's kind of what it is. Now, from a regulatory obligation, you have to one, ensure that the issuers are actually in compliance with Reg CF, right? The $5 million limitation, all the rules that go along with it. There's an AML KYC component. There is a whole host of rules. They're called the Rule 400 rules that, just kind of operational stuff. But it is in many respects acting like a broker dealer, but without one, the obvious advantage being the profit model, but two, without the heavy reporting obligation that broker dealers actually have, right? So that's how you do it, right? And so it's not like this real steep uphill climb to become registered as a crowdfunding portal. And you see them, the list isn't that long, but they tend to be nuanced, right? Like you see a portal that just does this vertical or that vertical or what have you. But when it comes to, anything that's not traditional equity, right? Because you're usually dealing with private companies and the like, but security tokens, there is no limitation in terms of what securities you are selling under the Jobs Act Reg CF exemption, right? So you can sell tokenized securities. You can sell derivatives, right? Whether they're crypto or otherwise. And the beauty of this, right? And I've talked about the inherent problem with security token offerings is that you're selling a security, but there's no active market, right? As it stands today for the trading of those security tokens. So they're very liquid, right? It's like buying, into the local laundromat, right? Well, what do you do if you own 30% of the laundromat. You can't sell it, right, and hope for appreciation. You have to just hope that the laundromat makes money. And if it doesn't, you're fucked, right? So security token, for all the rage with these security token offerings, people don't understand, like, I can't go list that security token on NASDAQ and then, hey, when the price goes up, we get some good news, I sell it and I make a profit. It doesn't work that way yet. It will, but not yet, okay? So the advantage of the crowdfunding portal when it relates to security tokens is that you're under the auspices of Reg CF. So you're not dealing with Reg D, right, where you're bound to accredited investors and so on and so forth. Yes, Reg CF, you have a limitation in terms of how much, but you can take retail investors. Now, that's good and bad because the sophistication standard is lower. Therefore, without the proper disclosure, which comes from the issuer, right, that this is not a liquid security, meaning like there's no trading market. A retail investor, in my experience at least, can get, worried or upset or what have you and say, well, holy shit, I want to get rid of this. I need the money. I need to liquidate, but there's no methodology to do it, whether it's traditional equity or a token, right? And if it's traditional equity, at least right as it stands right now, that company, if they wanted to IPO, they could go do it, right? And they could list on OTC or wherever they want, or they do a reverse merger and they're listed like within a month. But and the whole issue of restricted securities aside, that's a whole nother issue. But yeah, the portal's great because you can get this retail audience for a security token offering, but you still run into the primary issue with security token offerings, which is you're selling them something that's completely illiquid. And the way that they exit, right, the way that they make their money is for you to make money. And making money is really, really fucking hard. So, yes, it's great. The portals are great. You can charge a lot of money. It's easy to create them. But what you're selling through that, right, is not some groundbreaking thing as it relates to crypto. There's nothing that's going to change the outcome of what's effectively an STO to retail investors. So that's how you get there, right? And yes, there's some advantages. Yes, there's some legitimacy issues. Optics are great and all that, but you still have to think about who you're onboarding, how they're complying, and then who the investors are, because that can come back to your platform in terms of you're viewed as the seller, even though you're not. So in any event, that is Crowdfunding Portals 101. If you have questions on how to get it done, forms, whole 9 yards, compliance, STOs, you know where to find me. Adam Tracy. Talk to you next time.